in 19... While Alcala had been shown to be responsible for 9 killings, the total number of victims is unknown and might be far higher. Alcala gathered almost 1,000 images of women, adolescent girls, and boys, many of them in sexually explicit situations. He was accused in 2016 of the 1977 murder of a woman who...
You got them wide? Let's do this.
Come on, let's go to my room. Go upstairs, go to my room. Let's do this.
Down, Daddy, bother.
Pull your hair.
Come inside me.
So, oh hi, it's the next day. As you can see, I'm at school. Let's press play, smoke a blunt per day.
A lot of people
What
want
do
to
you
see,
do?
what patients would have looked and had all of their experiences. Unfortunately, we don't have access to those buildings, but we have a mock-up of what they could have been.
And just as a broad overview of the, I'm not going to ask any questions, I'm just going to have you talk, but what is the museum? Because I don't think people are going to come into this knowing why it's,
Probably not.
In the B-roll around here, I'm all alone in this side of the complex. There's a vibe here. There's definitely energy. It's almost like the spirits in this building are calling out to me in these windows. You can see there are tons of windows. Nobody's been in this building for a number of years. It's completely overgrown and abandoned. I have a really good feeling about tonight. As you guys know, asylums, psychiatric facilities, they always have a very strong energy, sometimes, oftentimes, a very negative energy, a very manic, sad, oppressive, angry energy. So I don't know what we're getting into tonight, but I'm excited. It's time to go in. Let's do this, guys. Go for it.
Hi, my name is Sarah Parks. We are at the Glore Psychiatric Museum, part of the St. Joseph Museum, up on 3rd floor.
And what was the 3rd floor?
So the 3rd floor is our old surgery ward. So right now, currently for the museum, it houses all of our patient artwork and a few smaller things like nursing rules and a...
Project, let's go to home. Let's go home. School is over for the day. Shit, can't go that way. Let's go this way, can't. School is over for the day, dog. Let's go home. Jump over here. Well, fuck. Remember that? Oh. Can I make this to on? Yes, I can. Here we are. Back at the crib area. Press play.
Mock-up of what a patient room would have looked like since we are in the medical surgical building.
A
lot of people want to see, what patients would have looked and lived and had all of their experiences. Unfortunately, we don't have access to those buildings, but we have a mock-up of what they could have been.
And just as a broad overview of the, I'm not going to ask any questions, I'm just going to have you talk, but what is the museum? Because I don't think people are going to come into this knowing why it's,
Probably not. Yeah, so the St. Joseph Museum started out as a kids museum actually in 1927 and has over time in St. Joe acquired a bunch of different collections over the years. 2014, the Glore Psychiatric Museum became a part of that. But the Glore Psychiatric Museum was actually made about 1968 by George Glore. He was a occupational therapist and had been tasked with having his therapy individuals make and create original mental health practices from about the 17th, 18th century as part of an open house to try to destigmatize mental health in the community and kind of show people what the state hospital was doing. Kind of grew from there because people loved them. They're actually still downstairs on display. So we've kind of grown the exhibits ever since then, really, and it's really one of the only few psychiatric museums in the country.
And what was this building before it was a museum?
So this building that we're in right now is the medical surgical building. So patients would have been admitted here, given, a physical check over psychology-wise, and then assigned to different staff or different wards from there. Also, if you needed anything medically done while you were here, like, tonsils removed, anything really like electroshock therapy was also done here. Our lobotomies were also done here. It was pretty self-functioning because the state hospital was about 3 miles outside of St. Joe at the time. You can't tell that now because we're about in the heart of it currently, but it was pretty...
Hungry for trivia? What are the top 2 most popular spices in the world? How much caffeine?
Self-sufficient because it had to be.
And I mean to say, this was an actual asylum, a mental,
Yes.
a state hospital.
Yes. So the campus that this building sits on was part of a larger facility, usually like 13 to 15 different buildings. Most of them are now currently part of the Missouri State Correction Facility, so there's razor wire around all of their buildings right now. That wouldn't have been here until about 1993. So this was originally founded with one building in 1874 as the State Lunatic Asylum number 2, useful terms in the 1800s. Hollywood has done a lot to make those negative terms, so they changed their names a lot. So over the years it was like St. Joseph State Hospital number 2, or just the St. Joseph State Hospital. But yes, up until actually 1993, this was part of that facility for mental health. They moved across the street in 1993 and are still operating. It's one of 5 that we had in Missouri.
So, just random question. The prisoners, the inmates, are in old state hospital buildings?
They are. The oldest ones.
Really?
Yep. This is the newest building on campus. This was built in 1968.
Couldn't imagine.
No,
Especially if it's haunted over there?
It's super haunted over there too.
Really?
Yep.
Have you heard any stories from people that work there?
Lots from prison guards. They have had a few buildings that they don't even go into anymore because they just get completely freaked out by them. I heard one guard has seen like full apparitions. Are in buildings that were originally wards, so much more probably activity than we have over here. Just functions of the building and age-wise. They have buildings that were built in 1874, and like I said, this one was built in 1960s. So
crazy. Imagine me in prison.
They have guard housing is the old doctor housing too.
Wow.
So,
well, okay, let's start the tour.
All right.
Go for it. That's a great introduction.
So this is one of the surgery rooms. You can see we've got nursing information in it now. We try to keep a lot of the old fixtures, so you'll see that light board actually was part of the state hospital. There's plugs and knobs and switches all over the 3rd floor for old equipment. I'll show you a couple in the hallway too that are pretty neat. This is what's called ward quiet, just because nursing is a lot different now than it was then. And a few of the things that we talk about in here too are, about respecting people's privacy and like HIPAA laws, because with the state of Missouri too, any mental health facility records are sealed.
Pause it. Let's head to bed, wake up in the morning for school. My room? Oh yeah, that's his spare room. I forgot about that. That's his spare room. This is my room. Head to bed. $5 in the morning. Head to school now. I can't believe it. I'm no longer in the foundation. I get to walk around, go to school like I used to do. Back when I was in a SCP. Man. Yes, I miss this. I miss being a teenager. Like an actual teenager. Not just at the foundation as a teenager, SCP. But I miss going to school. Having a normal life. You know, having a normal teenager life. Partying. Going to school. Skipping school. Starting fights at school. Getting expanded. Worst come to us. Get expelled. I miss those days. But now I'm back here. Now I get to go to school for sure. Where the fuck even am I? Shit, I'm fucking late for school, cunt. Fuck. Shake it off. Fucking hell. I'm lost. Shit. No. There's a mall. There is a school down here. So cool. This goes just down the road from here. Yeah, there's a school and there's a shopping mall. Or shopping centre. Shopping mall, shopping centre. They're both the same thing. You just shop at them. They're basically the same fucking thing. In my eyes, anyway. Okay, my first class for the day should be... Good morning, class. Okay, class dismissed. Cool. My second class for the day should be here.
Good morning, class. Class dismissed.
My last class for the day into the afternoon is class here. Good morning, class. Go sit down. Okay, class. Class dismissed. Have a nice break. Yeah, but what time, dude? Let's go chill. Yeah. No, let's go chill here, buddy. Yeah, let's go chill here, buddy. Let's go chill, no. Let's go chill here. Press play. Have a wonderful day, yo.
So we are currently in the original Glore exhibit room. Like I said, George Glore had some patients and he worked on creating these to show the public where mental health treatment really started and how far they had come and what the mission of the state hospital was really doing for people. Unfortunately, a lot of the time in 1800s, it wasn't great. It was mostly restraining people because they didn't know how to deal with them, didn't know what was wrong. And a lot of the time medically, we were still figuring out what germs were. So that kind of puts that in perspective for people. We didn't even know what germs were. We were still bloodletting at that time because we thought your body was controlled by 4 humors in your blood, and if those were out of whack, you were out of whack. So a few of the things you'll notice are just restraints, period. A couple of things like the water tub behind me were meant to shock people back into their senses. Kind of along the same thoughts of how we think like scaring people is going to get rid of their hiccups. It's just to reset your body to normal. That's what they thought needed to happen. There's a couple things in the wing over here. Along the same lines, there's a sensory deprivation chair. They thought it... If you took away all of your senses, you'd get back to normal. So they left you in it for a while. You couldn't see or really move around a lot. Some people think it looks like an shock chair. It's not. It's not an electric chair. There's a spinning chair too that was supposed to take all those humors from the middle of your body to your extremities. It really just made people sick. It's a spinning chair. It's like a Ferris ride. A lot of people too will look at the restraints, and this one's a replica. That one is original, and there's one on 3rd floor that's metal. That they're all called Utica cribs, and they would have been used to restrain patients that were harmed to themselves, especially at night, or other staff or anything like that. Really is why people used restraints. But it really goes back to one of the sections is basically just a prison cell. So a lot of the time, France especially was really known for bedlam. Bedlam they used as a mental prison, basically, and the aristocracy would actually parade through like a zoo for people, which is terrible. And a lot of this, obviously, we're looking at hindsight, and it's terrible from what practices we would do, but that was completely normal for them, unfortunately. So a lot of that prison system carried over even into America. Our state hospital system really started getting reformed with Dorothea Dix. Her portrait is downstairs, and Thomas Kirkbride. They were pretty instrumental in transforming how these facilities were created. Dorothea Dix started in Massachusetts and noticed that a lot of the people that had mental illnesses were just in prison, and they were treated terribly in chains and just shackled up and beaten sometimes into obedience because they didn't know how else to deal with them. She was like, they need to be treated like people. We need to have these big institutions and to give them better care. Thomas Kirkbride allowed that to happen in his building design. The main center building, which we only have the centerpiece of it now, would have had 2 wings that extended off in 45-degree angles, basically. So these places needed lots of land to be able to do that. But that gave each room windows for fresh air and sunlight, which obviously do positively affect our mental health. They're not cures or anything, but having them definitely helps, put us in a better mood. But that was kind of their plan to try to figure out, at least to start for better treatment. So as you move through time, there's a swing of, it kind of is a circle of these institutions. They got really big, they got defunded. We tried to do more experimental treatment because we were defunded in lack of staff, and now they're back in the prison system. So it kind of goes through that cycle. We'll look at some of the others. You're going to see the chairs, they're back here. We also have leaching things, because that's fun. That's the tranquilizer chairs. And then this is the one you spin in. We have, anything on here? Cute. George Fuller sat in the chair, and the director of the hospital got to spin him around, so I think he was a fan of that day.
So a lot of these are replicas?
Yes. A lot of these are replicas, most of the time because they were either not being used at the time or had gotten rid of. We know actual tranquilizer chairs that were used in New York. Most people don't sell them to museums or anything. I don't really know 100% why. Mostly because they've gotten rid of them. Obviously, they're terrible practices. So,
right.
But
pause it. Let's head home. School's over for the day, dude. another day in the morning. Tomorrow is another day at school. Sit down here.
Yeah, most of these are replicas of treatments and stuff.
What do you think is the most barbaric
Another one.
up here?
You know, my very least favorite thing is lobotomy. It's just because it's the most extreme thing we've probably ever done as humans.
And you guys did lobotomies here.
We did. So, like I was saying, you know, patient records and stuff are pretty much sealed. The only information really we have is either from, you know, patient art, or doctor's notes or treatment like practices. We know lobotomies happened because we have procedures for treatment of patient care before and or after that treatment. Same with electroshock therapy. We have those procedures that staff was supposed to follow to prep them and then aftercare. So I think they've done research and about 20 lobotomies were confirmed that happened here. I don't know if there's any more or who those people were, obviously. But we did have that, and we have some public record, like some newspapers and stuff would, and some death records obviously have State Hospital number 2 or Lunatic Asylum number 2 on their death record. Because you don't have that emotional tie. So if you can throw it away, you can give it to somebody else, you're not a hoarder. It's totally fine. We have a collection of 400 and some odd ties from one individual. The cigarette cases are a little bit different. They were a group project collection. One of the patients was super charismatic, got into his head that there was this national collection event, that if you collected 100,000 cigarette cases, the big cigarette companies would donate a wheelchair to the hospital. This was in like the 60s, so obviously everybody smoked. Patients and staff included. So he got 108,000 collected. That's what's in that cage right there. The staff at that point realized that there was no such contest. Bought him one, donated it, let him donate it to his ward anyway. So it's a nice little heartwarming story.
We went through all that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some activity around it. There was more when it was on 3rd floor, so I don't know if it was connected to 5th or 3rd floor. So, but there has been stuff around it before.
But these collections collected by patients.
Yes.
That's a lot of cigarettes, man. Holy shit. Could you imagine smoking all of those?
We also collected coins and soda can tabs too. So
Wow.
lots of collecting things. So we did talk about like vision and EEG machines. So our EEG machine, I think is funny. One, because it's not computer based. It's all like pre-computer. So didn't even really know what we were recording on EEGs at the time. So didn't really understand that like what the brainwaves meant or what the scrolls any of them really meant. We just knew it was brain activity. They recorded the first EEG in 1924. They didn't identify REM sleep until about the 1950s. So this one has a fun story. A couple of physicians, like really only 2 of them were trained on how to use it, and they hated each other, so they would hide it from each other all the time. And apparently it got lost in a closet somewhere for like decades and before we found it again.
This machine?
Yeah. So then we talked a little bit about restraints. They did still have modern adaptations to that. So mostly those turned into like mittens or camisoles. Most people know them.
Let's pause it. Head to bed. Wake up in the morning. You know the usual shit. But I'm going to say get to go to school now. Five in the morning, jump down here, head to school, yo. It's another day of school. first class for today should be up on the, you know, the top floor. Not the roof, but the top floor. My first class should be for the day. So let's head up there. Head up to the top. Not the roof, but just the top of the school. Here we are. Good morning, course. Sit down. Course dismissed. My same class for the day is this class here.
Good morning, class. Class dismissed.
Cool. My last class is this class here. Good morning, class. Okay, class dismissed. Have fun at break. Break time, dude. Let's go downstairs, go chill on the oval. Why not? Go down here. Walk all the way down. You know. Go this way. Through the gym area. Then out to the oval. Set. Here we are. Let's go chill. Here we'll do. Press play.
Straight jackets. But this is a Victorian
How's
one.
one for day,
Basically, it just looks like a corset. It was made out of really tough material, basically like box springs or bed frames. So you couldn't rip them, and then they sewed them like in a crisscross pattern, so you couldn't rip them. Really, the only difference between it and like modern straight jackets are modern ones have a tie through your legs, so you can't shrug it over your shoulders. Basically, just to help move people, because like you and I could move like them then without having too much resistance with someone that's bigger than you, obviously. Dentistry is, we talk about it a little bit, mostly because they had to be self-sufficient, so they did their own dentistry and stuff like that. But dentistry has had a tie with mental health, so you'll often see a lot of mental patients without teeth or missing teeth. Funny enough, usually if you have like a dental infection or something wrong with your teeth, you also have something else infected in your body or some other ailment. It's a weird connection. I don't know how it works, but it's like one of your first like health sign warnings. The room of it, which is what our director calls this, because it talks about rectal thermometers and like enemas. Enemas were a big thing because again the whole as kind of a development too, and cute sound. You still hear that? He was 12 when he had a lobotomy. They were really done for a lot of different reasons. They were kind of seen as this miracle catch-all, like, oh, you can have a lobotomy, we'll like fix you. And unfortunately, they had enough success with people that they kept doing them for a while. But obviously, your frontal lobe just completely transforms you, personality-wise. It basically makes you not have problem-solving skills at all. So a lot of people sometimes they just like turn into a vegetable. And that is not what they wanted out of the system. They wanted, you know, those faster treatments to get people in and out because we were super overcrowded and understaffed. But unfortunately, it made people just like completely dependent on these places too. More lighthearted note. Also in the 30s and 40s, syphilis was a real big problem in mental health facilities because syphilis left untreated will eat away at your brain. People don't like know that because it's, you know, super treatable now as a sexually transmitted disease. These hot boxes were made to treat syphilis originally. Because syphilis dies out really with you if you have like 104 fever for an extended couple days. These are pretty risky. Obviously, it's like a sauna, but worse. You could get pretty severe burns that way. So a safer way that they found out was actually to give people malaria. Because malaria by then was super treatable. It gave you the 105 fever for a couple days, and then they just treated your malaria, and you got better from both diseases. Real weird history for mental health, but it's pretty fun. It's just more about lobotomies and some of the instruments and stuff. Phineas Gage is loosely tied to lobotomies because he lived as a model of his soul. He was a railroad staff person, basically tamping down before they did dynamite and stuff, or through the tunnel system. But he was tamping the iron, went through his skull because they didn't do it correctly. He lived, but it messed up his frontal lobe and completely changed his personality. So it kind of got people wondering, more about how the brain works and all that fun stuff. A lot of the time, too, I think it's fun to tell people, like, a lot of what we now think is, like, pretty common, like, we have a left brain and a right brain. Most people know that now. We didn't know that until 1980.
Wow.
1980. Homosexuality, too, this is Phineas Gage. Homosexuality, too, was part of a mental illness until 1990.
Wow.
Yeah, they changed, it's called the DMS. It's basically how insurance diagnoses you through the system, because they have to have, all those codes to make sure you have the right medical treatment. 1990 was when they changed it. It's gone through like 5 editions at that point, but...
So a lot of these tools and relics were used in treatment?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So in the hallway here, we do have more of those like patient objects. Pica is one of them. I moved right past it, but that was actually collected in 1910 by a doctor after an autopsy of a patient. She died really suddenly at like 30 years old. Still a little pretty young for 1910, and they didn't know why. So obviously they had to do an autopsy to figure out why. They found about 1,400 objects in her intestines, anything from nails to buttons to glass. All of those things were in her at the time of that autopsy.
She ate all
of those things because she had pica. So pica is one of those, it kind of changed in the DMS. So originally it was an eating disorder, now it's more of an obsessive-compulsive thing. But basically pica is just you ingest and eat things that are not nutritionally of value. A lot of people during pregnancy will get little snippets of that for like wanting to eat like chalk or something like that. It's very strange. It has 0 nutritional value, but they still have like that compulsion to eat it. Arthur Kraft is the artist behind most of these paintings right here, and all of them in this room. Arthur Kraft was a Kansas City artist that spent about 5 weeks in our state hospital for alcoholism. So he treated lots of different things. We know so much about his stay here because he wrote a book about it. So we can obviously use all of that information because it's public domain. Some snippets of his book are in here on the wall. He's just been kind of a local phenomenon that's kind of like come back into the spotlight. This is the rest of his room.
Boys, school's over for the day. Head home. Chill at home. Head to bed. Wake up in the morning. Just another day of school. Yeah, buddy. Shit. Pardon me. Press play.
There's a dedication of his book here, but that's basically his observations of patients or staff. Most of those 2 are patients. I think this one's a staff member.
It's really interesting. It's really
Mm-hmm.
art.
He's a very well-renowned artist, so that is the book. He only made about 100 copies of the book, so they're pretty hard to find. We have one of them, but yeah, he made all of sketches, sculpting. Really, there's a little bit more about him here on that label, but he basically struggled with health problems, mostly we think because of mental illness and like
self-medicating.
Thank you. Self-medicating was pretty common back then with his alcoholism. So.
I wonder is he a collected artist? I mean, like people have his works,
So all of these works, we only have one, and it's downstairs. All of these are loans from people. So So a couple are from the art museum in town. Other ones are from local donors.
Those are really cool. They really are. Eerie drawings.
There's one more patient thing in the hallway, and then we can go
Sure.
basement, tunnels, all that fun stuff. This one's kind of fun. So this was about 1971. A male patient was seen sticking a piece of paper in the TV. And that's pretty strange. People don't just often stick papers in TVs. A couple of the staff members noticed that, called maintenance to, figure that out, because obviously that's not a safe situation in a TV like this, because tubing causes fires and all that fun stuff. They found 525 pieces of paper inside the TV. Most of them were written on anything really. You can see there's like a map of the state hospital here. There's just like random sheets of paper. This one is First Thanksgiving.
What is it? Let's head to bed. Just another day of school con. Five in the morning, head to school now, I guess. Another day of school. Here we are. It's another day of high school. Close this one. First class for the day. Should be here. Good morning, course. Sit down. Course dismissed. Cool. My second class is this class.
Good morning, class. Class dismissed.
My last class for the day until the afternoon should be the gym class, PE class. Good morning, class. Today you're gonna run 10 reps. Go. I'm up to my 10th. Okay. Class dismissed. Have fun at break. Cool. Let's go out of here, yo. Chill, smoke some weed for a day. Watch YouTube. Press play.
Pilgrims, there's newspaper articles, so anything
Smoke a
really
blunt
is
for a day,
fine.
yo.
A lot of them are usually addressed to President Nixon, telling him that he is a state hospital patient and that he would like to be released from the state hospital because the state hospital has stolen all of his worldly knowledge and wealth and put them into boxcars. He lists the numbers of the boxcars. Other things are slightly more logical, like he repeats that there's 365 days in a year. This is my state hospital person, is my therapist. But these are like the box numbers. There's 2 box numbers here. We've had to mark out through some of it because he'll give his social security number. And obviously he's not around really anymore, we don't think, but just in case. But that's
Really
his
cool.
way of communicating with the world, apparently. It was through the TV.
So what was the purpose of this floor specifically?
This floor would have been doctors' offices. They would have had other patient rooms here, but usually this side would have housed patients, and then doctors' staffing would have been through those double doors. So they would have had like orderlies staying up, so you wouldn't.
And paranormal on this floor.
This floor's not a lot anything other than
Try Hungry Jack's new Roadhouse Whopper with double bacon and special sauce. Or fall in love with Roadhouse Jack's fried chicken. Hungry Jack's new Roadhouse. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
people hear sounds a lot of like gurneys or nurses' shoes, stuff like that.
And
On this floor.
what's that side?
That side is the older side, so that side has a bit more activity.
Is that where we're headed now?
That's where we're headed now.
And is this the side where the lobotomies would have been done?
Yes.
It looks creepier down there than over here. Just standing down there.
Most of our signs are still original, like our key door's locked in front examination room because it's got the big, like, wide doors for wheelchairs and gurneys and stuff like that. So to our left is our Native American and World War I section right now. And then the other side is our Black Archives. So in this side of the hall, there have been shadow figures reported before. A lot of people kind of speculate if it's tied to, like, our Native American stuff or if it's just because it's the older part of the building. You don't really know. Some strange smells, like cigars, have been noted over here. We kind of joke that it is our cigar man because he pops